Well, hello friends. We're out here smack dab in the middle of winter. We've had a pretty good winter, but last night it got cold and this morning we woke up to 7 degrees. We've been blessed to have the opportunity to grow our own salad greens and cold weather crops this winter, and I'm going to show you about that today, and I'm going to enjoy a really good salad for my lunch. We had a really pretty snow yesterday. It snowed almost all day long, but it turned warmer in the afternoon and made it kind of slushy. Then overnight, the clouds went away and the bottom dropped out on the temperature. So it's crunchy. You can probably hear it crunching under my feet. And the trees are all nice and pretty and sparkly. It's a pretty time. But I know we're all ready for spring. We have 3 high tunnels set up there, and the first 2 that you see, there's not really anything planted. The plan on that is the second week of March to plant onions in there the same way we did last year. We're just going to fill those 2 up with onions. We're buying 2 cases worth. And that 4th one is a bigger one. It's 30 by 100-ish. And in the fall we planted some crops that could take the cold. And that's what we're going to go look at today. Even though it's so cold outside, it's warmed up a little bit since 7 degrees this morning at daybreak. But it's not too bad in here. It's well above freezing for sure. And last night we came out here and laid these 2 rows of floating row cover over our plants. We knew that it was going to get cold overnight, even though at bedtime it was still 32 degrees. And now we're going to uncover it and show what it looks like, plus I'm going to pick some salad. It takes 2 people to do this, so at least it takes 2 of us to do it. Maybe the 2 of us only add up to 1. I don't know. It's a lot easier with 2 anyway. And then on this side we usually just put it up on this fence, which is where we have in the last couple of years, and we will be growing tomatoes again right there. As you can see, the crops fared very well. You know, the row cover, the bigger the crops get, the more it kind of mashes them down, especially on that taller stuff, like right in there where we have kale. It gets a little bit heavier on it, but it'll bounce right back. In the first patch, we have spinach, which actually came up a little bit sparse, but it's grown very well. Some winters are horrible for us, and it's cold all year. And if it's cold, it won't really grow much. But this winter, it did grow. And then I've got a patch of beets here that are slowly growing. Been mostly or entirely picking them for greens. And here's that tall kale. I can't keep up with it because I don't eat that much kale. We're still picking radishes out of that section. And then this section is lettuce. It's a butter crunch lettuce, and it's given us lots of lettuce. And it's still going to give us a lot more lettuce because we're a long ways from being through with the cold weather. As soon as it warms up, it will start getting bitter and no good anymore. And then over on the end is some pak choy there. And I'm thinking that cat must have its eye on something. I don't know what. He's waiting for something to happen. I don't know what. I think my favorite out of all of this is the spinach. I'm going to pick several for myself, and then I'll pick some for old guy to eat because he doesn't eat it raw. But it always takes a lot more leaves to make a serving of cooked than it does a serving of raw in a salad. Primarily I'm pulling up the beets because I sowed them very thick and they're growing so slowly, so what I'm doing is thinning them out. I'm pretty much picking the small ones and leaving the bigger ones to grow, and hopefully we'll get some little beets. Although I did get one with a little bit of size to it. I don't use a whole lot of the beet greens, but they taste good. I don't have anything against them, but I just tend to not use that as much of them as I do the spinach or the lettuce. And this is the reason that I can't get rid of the kale, is because I'll only use a few leaves. And I'll also mix some in with his spinach, but don't tell him, okay? For the most part, I go through and pick the larger leaves along the outside and leave the center ones to continue growing. Sometimes if it's too thickly planted, I'll pull up the whole plant and then leave room for some others to grow there.
I used to live in the country on a high lonesome hill, crow by day, by night the whippoorwill.
You have no idea, unless you've done this before, how wonderful it is to be able to go out in the middle of the winter and pick a salad for your lunch. If you can do anything about making the situation work for you in the future, I highly recommend it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.